Hello class, I'm Cassandra. Really quick, I want to engage the audience. I want to raise a hand if you've ever been to a zoo, a circus, or seen a movie with an actor as an animal in it. Notice how it's almost everybody. Okay, hands down. So, my proposition today is that animals used in the entertainment industry is actually harmful to the animals. Now, animals in entertainment is defined as animals used to act, perform, or fight for the amusement of humans. These circumstances range from circuses to movies to bullfighting. So my first claim, animal training for entertainment is traumatic and abusive. Animals are forced to do unnatural behaviors. So my first evidence is, you guys have seen like in the media recently that a dog's purpose, someone released a video showing that a German Shepherd was forced into rapid waters. It was afraid for its life, fighting for its life. My second evidence for that is the Blackfish documentary that came out in 2013 by director Gabriella Kalperpudin and a USC alumni, may I add. She shows the story about Tilikum, an orca, who was abusively trained by a former creative director of SeaWorld. He was teamed up with an experienced orca, and every time he set out to do the trick that he wanted him to do, if Tilikum didn't do it because he didn't know how, the other orca would punish him and get frustrated with him. And on top of that, they kept food away from them, deprived them of food in order for them to try to get them to follow his command. My second point is animals are kept in captivity is mistreatment. Again, going back to my Blackfish documentary, which came out 2013, showed how Tilikum suffered while he was captive, because not only did that orca get frustrated with him, but at night when they weren't even surveillance, other orcas would beat him up. And that's because orcas in the wild, each family of orcas can't communicate with each other. They have like a different language. And SeaWorld, being uneducated about that, just left the orcas out alone, and they would get frustrated with each other and beat each other up. It also shows that the orcas in Blackfish that were captured in SeaWorld, because of the frustration and they couldn't get it out, they would actually die a lot faster. And because of that, there's other evidence aside from the documentary, which was posted in an article from LA Times, that 5 orcas that were captured in Canada, because it's where they originated, the whole SeaWorld thing, 5 of them moved to the US, were sold to SeaWorld. 3 of them died early age. One was a baby calf, just lived 22 days and died. The other one was a 25-year-old whale that died of a lung infection, and the other was a newly born whale that died within 79 days. Compared to wild orcas, that's a short lifetime. Another study shows that by Lucy Burkett and Nicholas E. Newman Fisher, published in a scientific journal about zoo chimpanzees. They were watched from December 2008 to May 2010. 40 chimpanzees from 6 different zoos from all over the US and UK showed behaviors that were abnormal. And that varied from eating feces, hitting each other, biting each other, or themselves. And it showed that all 40 chimps that were collected for that data showed those abnormal activities. My last point is that animals in sports could be very deadly to the animals. The American Jockey Society posted a database of injuries of racehorses, 484 fatalities in just 2015. Those horses died because of a $2 race. $2 that you would bet. That's how much that horse life was worth. My last supportive evidence for my third claim is that in bullfighting, in Latin countries, the bull dies every time it's out in the ring with the matador. And there are only a few exceptions where the bull survives, and that's if he puts on a good show, which shows that it's only business for humans, and it's not in care for the animals. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, the proposition's clear, but there's no preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. That's a little bit problematic. Your first point basically says training animals is bad for them, period. And I think that that's a pretty broad generalization. The only example that you have is this video clip from the training of the dog for the movie, and I think that's a little bit problematic. Wait, you do refer to the Blackfish film as well. You've got the examples of Telecom and the fact that his teammates or his other orcas beat him up during the training. I do think that you need to quote directly here. It sounds to me like you're paraphrasing something that happened in the movie, and it would be better if instead of trying to describe behaviors that you saw, that there is an authority. I'm sure that somebody in the movie talked about this, so you should be quoting that particular person, or somebody else has researched it and written about it. So I think that that's the way that information needs to be presented, because as it is, it's just like, see, Blackfish proves it. And I'm going, well, I haven't seen Blackfish. I don't know exactly what happened, and your description is a little vague. So if you've got the direct quote, I think it would be a little bit better. The examples that you have on the second point of keeping them in captivity results in them being mistreated. You've got some data from about specific orcas that had problems. I don't know, that's a particular incident that's a good incident to use because you've got 3 who had some problem that's identified. Although 2 of them were probably problematic to begin with since they were so young. The demonstration that they wouldn't have died, for instance, had they not been transferred, I think that's the thing that's missing there. The argument about the chimpanzees, I was a little confused about this. If they looked at 40 chimpanzees and all the chimpanzees engaged in the same behaviors, how could the behaviors be abnormal? Because all the chimpanzees are engaging in those behaviors. If there's a comparative group, if there's a baseline group that they're looking at, we need to know that. And this is one of those places where, again, I think we're getting part of a quote. It's sort of a paraphrase of something that you've read without quoting it directly, and as a consequence, the evidence is a little bit ambiguous. Let's see, the information on the third point about sports, I don't think anybody doubts that bullfighting is not so good for the bull, so that's not really controversial. But is that a standard, how widespread practice is that even today? I don't know. That's, I think, something that could use a little quantification. The one thing that I thought you did quantify pretty well was the number of horses that were killed in horse racing a couple of years ago, and that seems like a pretty high number, so I think that point makes your argument there a little bit more effectively than some of the other points. All right, thank you.